Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course. The daily series. Every single day. Daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea in the news, media, social media, new media, giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, asking for yours, mate. Because it's all about the community here on Football Therapy, sharing the collective Chelsea fan opinion, gauging the vibe, right? Football Therapy, gauging the vibe. Today we're citing an article from Football.London from Adam.Newson. Adam.Newson? Football.London from Adam Newson. I don't think he has a dot between his names. It is the transfer season. So the transfer window has slammed open, or, well, it slams shut. What does it do when it opens? Does it slide open? Slide open, slam shut. Anyway, the transfer window is open. Chelsea are open for business. The sanctions are lifted. We have new owners, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, we have work to do, mate. Lots and lots to do. So I'm really interested to go through this article. He talks through the situation and the positions on the pitch, and we can reflect on that accordingly. And I think it's going to be an insightful and interesting piece of content. And if you enjoy my content, thank you for dropping a like, mate. That's really kind of you. Takes a second. That's all you got to do, man. And you're all welcome to subscribe should you choose to do so. Make sure you hit the bell notifications icon because there's lots going on, man. I gotta take you through it for the transfer window, and you don't want to miss a beat, so that's why you hit the bell. Alright, settle in. Got a drink? Don't need a drink, but, you know, sometimes content is best enjoyed with a drink. Ousmane Dembele threat, Edouard Mendy plan, Chelsea transfer window state of play. It's set to be a big summer transfer, a big summer for Chelsea as Thomas Tuchel oversees a rebuild of his first team squad following a takeover by the Todd Boehly-led consortium by Adam Newson, as we have said, the Chelsea correspondent of Football.London. Let's get into it. There isn't a single person. Start there again. There isn't. Or I'll just add a bit. There isn't a single person who doesn't want loads of new players at Chelsea. And there isn't a single position in the Chelsea first team squad that doesn't require attention this summer. Oh, really? I guess so. We'll find out, I suppose. And with the transfer window officially open, as of today, it's time for Thomas Tuchel and new Blues owner Todd Boehly to get to work and start the rebuild that is required. And yeah, possibly our most important transfer window since the first transfer window under Roman Abramovich when he brought in Mourinho, when we broke football. You know, you could very much make a case for that. It will not be easy, as Tuchel himself has accepted. He said this: the rebuild is big. The top two clubs in Man City and Liverpool improve their teams, and they already have the teams that are very clear on which to build. A rebuild is necessary for us, and that makes it more challenging, of course. We have clear ideas for the profiles and characteristics of these players, but it's not like we put a name on the list and we get the player. We have to convince the player, speak to their clubs, and convince ourselves, which, by the way, is probably like a big thing. For all Chelsea fans, we're in like philosophical existential crisis because we think we got a player that we love, and then, you know, you get, I'm not going to reel off disappointing signings, but yeah, it literally is a case now of when you get a signing, you've got to reconvince yourself that it's going to be okay. It's going to be alright. The player will work. So convince ourselves this is the player that we actually need. There is normally a lot of work, and it will be done to be competitive next season while everyone else tries to close the gap on us. Everyone's working, basically. We're behind. We had sanctions. We got to get going, baby. Unlike the majority of his predecessors at Stamford Bridge, Tuchel has been given license by Boehly to guide Chelsea's transfer business this summer. It will be the German who makes the call as who leaves the squad and the players which are targeted in the window. And here we break down the state of play across the squad. So we're about to go through the positions. But just on that, before we do, interesting that, like the aforementioned thing of saying maybe this is the most relevant transfer window since the first under Abramovich, because I'm imagining Jose Mourinho got a lot of control in terms of who he targeted, and since then it's been like club directors, board, you know, technical director Emanalo, all these people, even Marina Granovskaya as well, controlling who Chelsea buy. Now it's like, no, we're giving the reins completely to Big Tommy Tuchel. Interesting. So let's start off with goalkeeper. Edouard Mendy is Chelsea's first choice stopper, and that isn't going to change next season. Football.London understands a new contract is planned for the Senegal international, who is currently one of the lowest earning members of Tuchel's first team squad. We bought Edouard Mendy from Rennes to sort of compete with Kepa, who was on crazy money. He still would have got a pay increase from Rennes to Chelsea, but considering he's a Champions League winning goalkeeper and he is absolutely cemented number one, you'd expect him to be paid more money. Mendy's deputy at Stamford Bridge is the world's most expensive goalkeeper. Kepa Arrizabalaga, the Spaniard, signed for £71.6 million from Athletic Club in 2018, just made 15 appearances last term, and his role as a domestic Cup goalkeeper towards the end of the campaign. Yeah, so, Quote, I know for sure that Kepa is not happy about this situation. He deserves to play more, and he can be a strong number one, Tuchel admitted last month. I know the goalkeeper coaches have had these conversations about Kepa's future, and then we can take our time and speak with him and reflect on what is best and what the possibilities are. Pretty much Tuchel saying, yeah, Kepa, we got to get him out of here, man. It's understood Kepa is ready to move on from Chelsea after 2 seasons behind Mendy, but it will not be easy for the Spaniard to find a new home, unless he takes a significant reduction in his salary, which is around £190,000 a week. That's what happens when you spend over £70 million on a goalkeeper. You end up trying to, because we triggered his buyout clause. He's probably quite happy at Bilbao. We're like, we'll pay you 200k a week as a goalkeeper. You know what? I didn't even like these guys anyway. That kind of thing. So it's a lot of money. City side Lazio, managed by Maurizio Sarri, have a long-standing interest in him and are believed to have held talks with Kepa over a move. Which is funny because I was at Wembley when Kepa refused to come off and disrespected Maurizio Sarri. And Sarri looked like he was about to walk down Wembley Way. But yeah, clearly it's still a big admirer of him. Probably suits his football quite well. Remember we targeted Kepa when we were getting Sarri in because we were like, Sarri ball, a footballing goalkeeper. Maybe he still feels the same way about Kepa and he wants to buy him for Lazio. Chelsea will need a new number 2 if Kepa departs. Previously reported that Nathan Baxter, of course Chelsea Academy product, has support from inside the club to step up. The 23-year-old has spent the last season on loan at Hull City, for whom he kept 7 clean sheets in 15 championship appearances. Pretty good. Right, so let's move on to the defence. It's a centre-back that requires urgent attention for Tuchel. Rudiger's moved on to Madrid and set to be joined in La Liga by Christensen, who is understood to have agreed a contract with Barcelona. But Barcelona have no money. And the Dane isn't the only Chelsea player who could head to the Camp Nou this summer. Well, so apparently could Marcus Alonso. Well, so apparently could Cesar Azpilicueta. But they need like £500 million pounds out of nowhere to prevent themselves from going bust. God knows how Barcelona are going to magic themselves out of this one. There is an initial 2-year contract on the table for Azpilicueta if he decides to bring his decade-long stay at Stamford Bridge to an end, although Barcelona would have had to pay Chelsea a small fee for the 32-year-old. And Marcus Alonso is also on the La Liga Giants wish list, and the Blues are prepared to let the left wing-back depart. Maybe we can do a package, you get a double Spanish fullback deal, mate. We'll do you both Spanish fullbacks for, I don't know, £10 million or something like that. Maybe a bit more, actually. Alonso's got to be worth. Actually, I don't know. We'll talk. So reinforcements are needed. Sevilla centre-back Jules Koundé is expected to complete the switch to Stamford Bridge. Personal terms have been agreed for some time, but as of yet, no official bid has been submitted for the 23-year-old who is currently away with France. Interesting, because you thought it would be done by now. Don't know if you can hear that. It sounds like my washing machine's about to explode. Sources have told Football.London that Tuchel would love to bring Marquinhos, I bet he bloody would, who has worked with him at Paris Saint-Germain, to Stamford Bridge. However, the Chelsea head coach appreciates such a transfer would be near impossible. Presnel Kimpembe is viewed as much more attainable target should PSG decide to refresh their backline this summer. Presnel Kimpembe, I never liked him because he always just seemed like a bit of a dick, and that's probably why he's a good footballer and I want him at Chelsea. He's quite tough Kimpembe, isn't he? And he's not like a wuss at all. And like, you know, we need a bit like, you know, shithousery, and apparently he's left-footed, so he can play on the left, and you know, we need like a little bit of hardness back there. I'd probably be quite into that, so comment down below what you guys think of Presnel Kimpembe and if he's someone that you'd like. Excuse me. Other centre-back targets, of course, for Chelsea include Josko Gvardiol, Pau Torres, Jose Gimenez, Matthijs de Ligt, who was offered to the Blues earlier in the year, but he's in talks with Juventus over a new contract. We have spoken about de Ligt just recently, a couple of videos ago. Feel free to go back and check that out. There is an in-house option, of course, in Levi Colwill. The 19-year-old impressed hugely on loan at Huddersfield Town last season, and has a number of clubs, both from the Premier League and Europe, interested in signing him in the summer, either permanently or on a loan. We'd be fools to sell him permanently. Yet Tuchel is keen to evaluate Colwill in pre-season, and the academy graduate should be on the Blues tour for the USA. Maybe he could be like another, you know, Trevor Chalobah. I doubt he'd come in to be the starting centre-back. I mean, he could be. Apparently something happened with Trevor Chalobah that we didn't really see as fans, because he sort of disappeared out of the team. But I mean, you know, apparently Tuchel was disappointed in either training or something in the game, whereas we all thought he was perfect and then dropped. But then again, we're not all coaches and we don't all train him of them. But, you know, there could be, he's still ultimately a great success story, Trevor Chalobah. You know, why not Levi Colwill as well? If Alonso does get his wish to join Barcelona, Emerson Palmieri is in line to return as the first team set up to support Ben Chilwell's left wing back. And although Chelsea have retained interest in Stuttgart's Borna Sosa as well, I think this is pretty clean cut for me. We own Emerson. Tuchel's wax lyrical about how he loves Emerson as a player, as a person, and, you know, how professional he is. I think that's it. You know, we've got too many players to buy and sort out. Emerson's going to be the number 2 to Ben Chilwell. So let's switch over to midfielders. The long-term futures of Jorginho and N'Golo Kante remain undecided. Both are out of contract next summer, and there have been no talks to extend their respective stays at Stamford Bridge. It's why if a sizable offer arrives for either player, Jorginho or Kante, Chelsea will not dismiss it. There is room to negotiate. You know, of course, this is something we've spoken about at length. Juventus have long been mooted as a possible destination for Jorginho, who is currently on holiday, having been allowed to leave the Italian squad early, but no bid has been made as of yet. Meanwhile, Manchester United have been linked for a move for Kante, but their first choice midfielder is Frankie de Jong. Oh yeah, because they're similar in profile. Frankie de Jong and N'Golo Kante, completely different players. But yeah, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think for a moment Chelsea will sell N'Golo Kante to Manchester United. Football.London has been told there is genuine interest from City A clubs in a permanent deal for Ruben Loftus-Cheek this summer, but any transfer would require a midfielder to take a cut on his £150,000 a week salary. The 26-year-old is also understood to be content at Chelsea and happy with his role under Tuchel. You know, he's still... People forget that Ruben Loftus-Cheek made 40 appearances last season. That's loads. Granted, like, you know, and, you know, he might train more, get better. I think Tuchel likes the idea of keeping Ruben. The fact that he's played Ruben as a lone CDM in a free, a double six. He's played him as a sweeper in a back three, and he's played him as a wing back. He even played him up front for half an hour. So I think Tuchel likes the idea of having a utility man in Ruben. Although it would be nice if he goes to... I mean, I like Ruben. I'd like him to stay. But it would be a nice story if he joins Tomori and Tammy and lives out his personal legend in City A. Let's move on. Conor Gallagher is set to be incorporated into the first team this summer by Tuchel and is understood to want to lay down a marker in pre-season. I think he did that last pre-season. Tuchel really was impressed with him then. The 22-year-old midfielder wants to ensure he plays enough football to remain in the England squad for the World Cup in Qatar. Well, makes sense. In terms of central midfield signing, the Blues put in years of work with Aurélien Tchouameni stretching back to his time at Bordeaux, but were unable to progress a deal for the French midfielder after Roman Abramovich was sanctioned, and that allowed Real Madrid to move ahead and seal a deal. Real Madrid again, pissing people off in Europe. Declan Rice remains a target for Tuchel and is a huge admirer of the West Ham midfielder who wasn't involved in the promotion of the Iron... Oh, wait, hold on. He wasn't involved in the promotion of their new kit release. Ooh, does that mean something? David Moyes has stated it would take around £150 million for the Hammers to sell Rice. But it's believed negotiations could begin if excess of 75 million was submitted. Now look, Declan Rice splits opinions. I think he's a very, very good footballer, and Tuchel, it's widely reported across every piece of media that Tuchel loves Declan Rice. I absolutely don't want to get anywhere near him for £150 million, especially when we need to rebuild all over the gaff. But if it's under 100 million, if it's under 90 million, if it's under 85 million, I'll start thinking, this is like very young midfielder who's already a captain. You know, you got to start thinking, ain't you? An alternative to Rice is PSV midfielder Ibrahim Sangare. While Football.London understands the RB Leipzig's Konrad Laimer was watched also by Chelsea last campaign, the Austrian, however, is expected to complete a cut price move to Bayern Munich due to his contract expiring next summer. Well, Sangare is a player that everyone's talking about as well. Could be very good from PSV. So let's move on. I appreciate this is a long video, guys. Let's move on finally to the forwards. There's a big decisions for Tuchel as he faces over several of his attacking players. Romelu Lukaku is steadfast on leaving Chelsea this summer and would like to return to Inter Milan, from whom the Blues signed the Belgian for £97.5 million less than 12 months ago. Tuchel is understood to be willing to let Lukaku depart. The relationship between the pair is not exactly strong. I think it's professional, by the way, still though. But Chelsea would not be prepared to let do the striker any favours, and it would have to, they'd do Inter an offer for a sizable loan fee in order for the 29-year-old to get his wish. There's also question marks over the future of Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Christian Pulisic, none who have nailed down a regular starting spot under Tuchel. Interesting how Hudson-Odoi is not in that, but I think Hudson-Odoi is still sort of favoured as a highly, compared to our forwards, a highly creative, versatile forward. And while there is interest from Europe for the aforementioned trio, nothing has been put to Chelsea in terms of offers yet. One player that could arrive is Ousmane Dembele, who will be available on a free transfer. Of course, we've done quite a few videos on Ousmane recently. His Barcelona contract expires this month. Football.London understands that talks have been held with the France international, but no contract has yet been agreed on. PSG remain a threat to our chance, as their interest still remains, but obviously there's conflicting reports on whether PSG will or won't buy him. As reported by The Telegraph, Raheem Sterling is being considered by Chelsea. The England international has 1 year left on his contract and is believed to be open. He's open to a move away from City if an attractive proposal was made. He's a London boy. If we offer him loads of minutes, Chelsea are Champions League winners recently, got a good coach. It could be, an option for him. Meanwhile, Gabriel Jesus has been offered to Chelsea, and we've spoken about that yesterday. A number of other clubs across Europe are keen for the Brazilian, with, Erling Haaland going to the Etihad. Also pitched to Chelsea is Richarlison, but Everton forward is unlikely to be pursued. It costs so much money, and I'm not sure he is the answer. Football.London revealed at the beginning of May, Nkunku was on Chelsea's shortlist for attacking options, but they face competition for the French forward. Everyone wants Nkunku. So there you go. There's so much data. The transfer window is open top to bottom. Adam Newson of Football.London has taken us through. Do check him out on Twitter. Check out the article. Comment down below your thoughts, feelings, and emotions on this. I can't wait to report on more stories as they develop. And of course, make sure you sub to get it all here first. Let me know what you think. Comment down below, please.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I love me bitch.